engage in too much hyperbole here, but I think this is increasingly becoming the most serious moment since the Civil War. I just think it's a miracle that we've lasted as long as we have.
In order to save taxpayer money, it comes down to two things: competence and caring. And when the president was shown the outrageous bill for the new Air Force One, and then negotiated it down, if the president had not applied competence and caring, the price would have been 50% higher, literally 50% higher. The president cared, the president was competent, the price was not 50% higher as a result. And so when you add more competence and caring, you get a better deal for the American people.
I think it's so important for American people to understand what's happening. Their government, their watchdog agencies, the people who go to work every day to fight for them are being fired illegally in what is just a wholesale dismantling of entire agencies.
So what can you do now? Can you do anything now? Are you going to do anything now?
Of course. My colleagues and I are fighting back. Our union is already in court. They've brought a couple of cases that I think we'll see action in the next few weeks. And, all I can say is that Elon Musk and the president picked the wrong bunch of lawyers to mess with.
More funding, not less, and research funding theft. More funding, not less.
Hey, hey, RFK, hands off the FTA. Hey, hey, RFK, we remember JFK. Fascism is a virus too, and the people who are out here fighting in sub-freezing temperatures, they are the antibodies. We are the antibodies. And my friends, a rally a day keeps the fascists away.
Why this rage against you now? First they hated him, now they hate both of you.
Well, I think we're seeing an antibody reaction from those who are receiving the wasteful and fraudulent money.
They're being exposed.
Yes.
Nobody wants to be exposed with your
I'll tell you a lesson I learned at PayPal. You know who complained the loudest, and the quickest and the loudest and with the most amount of righteous indignation? The fraudsters. So people ask me, like, what's your biggest surprise in D.C.? And I'm like, the sheer scale.
It's massive. So you love the challenge.
Well, I mean, to the president's point,
that's the only thing you can say. He'll never do anything.
I mean, you do something slightly better, and you save billions of dollars for the American taxpayer. Just slightly better.
When you say
slightly
tech support,
you go 1% better, and it's like tens of billions of dollars saved for the American taxpayer. Now, if I may address the point the question you asked earlier, which is, how do we assure people
they want to know?
Yeah, how do we assure people that we're going to do the right thing, that their Social Security benefits will be there, that their medical care will be good, and in fact, how do we make it ensure that there's better medical care in the future? How do we improve their benefits? How do we make sure that their Social Security check goes further than it did in the past and not it doesn't get weakened by inflation? So if we address the massive deficit spending, the waste in the government, then we can actually address inflation. So provided the economy grows faster than the money supply, which means you stop the government overspending and the waste, and the output of real useful goods and services exceeds the increase in the money supply, you have no inflation. Yeah. And you also drop the interest payments that people pay, because if the government
keeps too high.
Yes, the reason the interest payments are so high is because the national debt keeps increasing. So the government is competing to sell debt with the private citizens. This drives up the interest rate. So if you cut back on the deficit, you actually have an amazing situation for people, because you get rid of inflation and you drop the interest rates. And that means people's mortgage payments go down, their credit card payments go down, their car payments go down, their student loans go down, everything, their life becomes more affordable and their standard of living improves.
This president, for the first time in history, is committed to restoring accountability at every level of the federal government. You may assert there's no waste in the Pentagon. You may assert there's no waste in
Stephen,
Treasury.
I'm not
you may assert there's no waste in HHS.
Stephen.
Stephen, I don't think anyone...
Then why are you not celebrating these cuts? If you agree there is waste, if you agree there is abuse, if you agree there is corruption, why are you not celebrating the cuts, the reforms that are being instituted? Every day that no action is taken, the entire
Stephen, let's calm
salaries
down.
of American workers that are taxed disappear forever.
Donald Trump and the Republican Party has changed the electorate. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at party identification, Democrats versus Republicans. You go back to 2017, 5 points more of the electorate was Democrats than Republicans. You go to 2021, when Joe Biden was starting out, look at that, 6 points more of the electorate was Democrats than Republicans. But look at what's happened in February of 2025. Look at this. Republicans, there are more Republicans in the electorate than there are Democrats.
This country was headed down a very bad track, and the whole DEI thing, that was a trap. That was a sick trap. And, we've destroyed that. That's gone. That's pretty much gone.
I agree. We're not funding it.
I really want to emphasize to people that this is a very important point. If we don't solve the deficit, there won't be money for medical care. There won't be money for Social Security. We either solve the deficit, or all we'll be doing is paying debt. So it's got to be solved, or there's no medical care, there's no Social Security, there's no nothing. It's got to be solved. It's not optional. America will go bankrupt if this is not done. That's why I'm here.
The president, Europe takes advantage of this.
And I'd like to also just send a message to, because as the president said, there's a lot of rich people out there. They should be caring more about the country, because the reason they should be caring more about the country is if America falls, what do you think is going to happen to your business? What do you think? Do you think you're going to be okay if the ship of America sinks? Of course not. What I'm doing here, what the president's doing, it's just long-term thinking. The ship of America must be strong. The ship of America cannot sink. If it sinks, we all sink with it.
There's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the Doge savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions, and we're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% down to pay back debt and pay down debt. It was important for people to understand he's doing a big job. He's doing a very thankless job. It's really a thankless job, but he's helping us to save our country. Our country was in serious trouble. And I had to get the best guy, somebody with credibility, because if he were just a regular, very good, solid businessman, he wouldn't have the credibility. He's got the best credibility for this. And people also know he's an honest guy. He's an honest guy. He's just a very, very smart guy who's done amazing things. And this will be the biggest thing he's ever done. Because, his companies are all great, but if this country goes bad, I guess where he is a little selfish is this. He knows one thing and probably doesn't think. But if this country goes bad, his stuff is not going to be worth very much, I can tell you.
Like I say, if the ship of America sinks, we're all going down with it. This idea that people can escape to New Zealand or some other place is false. If the central pillar of Western civilization, that is America, falls, the whole roof comes crashing down and there is no escape.
Well, when I set up Doge with Elon, so back in October, Elon Musk and I flew down to Texas, got Elon Musk to do it, and here was our agreement, that Elon was going to cut $1 trillion of waste, fraud, and abuse. Think about it. We have almost $4 trillion of entitlements, and no one's ever looked at it before. You know Social Security is wrong. You know Medicaid and Medicare are wrong. So he's going to cut $1 trillion, and then we're going to get rid of all these tax scams that hammer against America, and we're going to raise $1 trillion of revenue. And our objective under Donald Trump is to balance this budget, and I'm telling you, you watch it, we're going to do it.
If you get savings from these Doge cuts, are you going to give any of this back to the American people? We keep hearing about these Doge dividends.
Well, think about it. Donald Trump announces the External Revenue Service, and his goal is very simple, to abolish, his goal is to abolish the Internal Revenue Service and let all the outsiders pay. I mean, this is someone who is focused on America. Let's drive down our waste, fraud, and abuse. I'll give you an example. Cruise ships. You ever see a cruise ship with an American flag on the back? They have flags of like Liberia or Panama. None of them pay taxes. None of them pay taxes. Every super tanker, none pays taxes. Alcohol, all foreign alcohol, no taxes. This is going to end under Donald Trump, and those taxes are going to be paid, and Americans' tax rates are going to come down.
Do you anticipate you'll be here 4 years? My last question.
I'll be as helpful as long as I can be helpful.
No.